Okay, the next question that I've been asked to answer. Do you have any advice for calming a nervous dog who is spooked by random things on walks? I'm talking full-blown panting, panic, extreme responses. So when I give advice on TikTok, it has to be generic. I cannot give specific advice for individual dogs because I do not have a vet referral and I do not have the medical history. But here's some generic thoughts. Age. Age is an important factor. Puppies, for example, going through their socialization windows are likely to have things that spook them. Particularly as we get through adolescence, some dogs will have this really obvious second fear stage, usually at about 8 months. If you're in that kind of window, then you really need to kind of step things back a little bit, make exposure walks really short, make sure they are as positive as possible, try and keep distance from things that you know have previously spooked the dogs and gradually build those things up. But how you deal with it in that time is really important, because if you flood the dog and try and drag them over and make them interact with the scary things, then you're probably going to have a dog that longer term doesn't just get over this. If this is an older dog who never used to have these problems, but suddenly they've started being scared by things, then we really do need to make sure that we've ruled out health components here. As dogs age, their sensory abilities change, just like ours do, okay? My grandparents, deaf as anything, even with the hearing aids in, and I think sometimes they just don't turn them on. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but it's infuriating. When that happens to our dogs, then things that we used to be okay with are suddenly more scary because we don't maybe see them, they don't maybe hear them, they appear more suddenly. Even though they haven't appeared more suddenly, they do, because the way the dog that is perceiving the world is just so different. If this is something your dog has always done, and it has been kind of from when you got them, maybe they're a rescue, or maybe they've just always been of a bit of a nervy predisposition, then again, there can be health components that are involved with that. For example, if it's a female dog, depending on when she was spayed, if she's spayed, could she be trapped in a persistent phantom pregnancy? Are there other health things that are involved? Now, while some people don't necessarily see it, sometimes these kind of flinchy responses are actually in response to pain, which is why it's so important we do the health referrals before individual specific advice for dogs is given. Hence, clinical animal behaviourists only work on vet referral. But, you know, as I have mentioned several times, you won't see much of that on TikTok because it's not sexy and it doesn't get loads of likes. But what we need to do is we need to have the dog gradually being exposed to things in ways that are safe and ways that they can deal with. And a lot of that, for me, is about it being within the dog's control, not ours, which is why I particularly like items like free work as an activity to do. I've used free work with a lot of dogs who've been very spooked by things, and we've used it to gradually reintroduce things and build their confidence, mainly because it involves sniffing, and sniffing's amazing.